Okay, so the next section is properties of parallelograms. So one type of polygon that we're going to talk about is called a parallelogram, and it's a special type of quadrilateral. Okay, and you have your definition here. Parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel. So if you look at the diagram here, you can see that we have arrows on, or one set of arrows on QP, and we have another set of arrows on RS. Okay, those arrows indicate that these two lines are parallel. Now, similar to when we use tick marks, we may use one tick mark on two pairs of sides and two tick marks on a different pair of sides, and that's to say that those pair of sides are congruent to one another, but not that those sides are congruent to the other side. So this is another type of notation where we have one pair of arrows that indicate that this side is parallel to this side, and here we have two arrows to indicate that this side is parallel to that side. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different types of quadrilaterals, and we're going to kind of make like a chain to show the properties. So the properties that are true for parallelograms are also going to be true for special parallelograms, which are rhombuses, rectangles, and squares. And then we're going to talk about a different type of quadrilaterals, which is trapezoids. Okay, so our first set of properties, or our first property I should say, is that the opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So on your paper you can fill in this definition and mark and label your drawing accordingly. The second theorem is that the opposite angles are congruent. Okay, and again you can see indicated on your diagram here, Q and S both having a single arc mark says that they are the same. So for instance, if this is 100 degrees, this is 100 degrees. Okay? Our consecutive angles, meaning the ones next to each other, are supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. So for instance, if this angle were 75 degrees, I can now figure out that this angle, because they have to add up to 180, would have to be 105 degrees. Okay? Using the former properties, I also know if this one's 75 means this one's 75. And if this is 105, this is 105. So when we're talking about parallelograms, we only need one angle, and we can figure out all four for the figure. Okay? And the last one is that the diagonals bisect each other, meaning when I connect from R to P and from Q to S, these two diagonals are going to split each other in half right at this midpoint M. Okay, so from P to M is going to be equal from M to R. And same thing here, from Q to M is going to be the same as M to S. Okay, so some examples where we're using these properties. We have FGHJ is a parallelogram. Find the unknown length and explain your reasoning. Okay, so for A, they ask us to find JH. So they want us to find this side right here. Well, the first property told us opposite sides are congruent. So if FG is 5, that means JH must also be 5. And the reasoning is because opposite sides are congruent in a parallelogram. Okay. For JK, we can see that's half of the diagonal here, because one of the properties are the diagonals bisect each other. If this half from H to G is 3, from K to G is 3, then K to J must also be 3. Okay? And again, that's because diagonals bisect each other in a parallelogram. Okay? Okay, our next example. They want us to find the measures of angle R and angle Q. Okay, so we have two properties on angles. One says opposite angles are congruent. The other one says consecutive angles are supplementary. So opposite angles, so that means P and R must be congruent. Therefore, R is going to be 70 degrees, and that's because opposite angles are congruent in a parallelogram. And P and Q have to be supplementary. So again, supplementary meaning adds to 180. This is 70. This would have to be 110. And that's because consecutive angles are supplementary. Alright, and the last example, example 3. We're going to throw a little bit of algebra into this one. And we have PQRS as a parallelogram, find the value of x. So again, because consecutive angles are supplementary, these two, S and R being next to each other, have to add up to 180. Okay, so I have 3x plus 120 has to equal 180. And when I solve that, I get x equals 20. Okay, and that's all you have to do for this section.